and welcome to this English lesson where we're going to talk about the environment. It's a big word, it's somewhat hard to say, but the environment is basically the natural world around us. Basically, the environment is everything you see when you go outside, but it's a little bit more than that because it's the entire planet Earth, okay? It's everything that makes up the planet that we all live on. So the environment is something that we want to take care of. The environment is something that's beautiful to experience. Sometimes it's just nice to get outside and enjoy the beautiful natural world around us. So I hope that you enjoyed this lesson about the environment. So what is the environment? As I said before, the environment is the natural world around us. We have other words for the environment. We might call it the outdoors. We might call it the great outdoors. But generally, the environment refers to plants, animals, rivers, lakes, streams, weather, everything that happens that's not part of the man-made world. So the term man-made refers to buildings and cars and all of the things that humans have created. The environment is the natural world. It is beautiful, and I think it's important that as we live on this planet together, that we do everything we can to take care of it. Someone who really likes the environment is called an environmentalist. Do you want me to say that English word again? Environmentalist. We hardly say the N, by the way. So if I say the environment, you can hear me say the N that comes right before the M, the environment. But it's kind of very soft, environmentalist. So, environmentalist is not an official term. It's just someone who likes the environment and has a lot of time to try and do things to take care of the environment. So an environmentalist is someone who thinks the natural world should be protected and does everything they can to do that. So the official term for someone who studies the environment would be an environmental scientist. Okay, so environmental science is the formal study of the environment. Environmental scientists. I'm getting tired of saying the word environmental. It's a hard word to say even for English speakers. We have a funnier term. This used to be somewhat of a negative term, but I think it has more of a positive connotation now. We sometimes call people tree huggers. You can see that this man is hugging a tree. Sometimes people who like the environment can be referred to in a joking or fun way as tree huggers. It's not totally polite. Let me put it this way. I could say, I'm an environmentalist, I'm a tree hugger. I could proudly say that. But you might not want to call me a tree hugger because I might find it a little bit offensive. So it's an interesting term. It's kind of a fun term for someone who likes the environment. I'm going to talk about things that are in the category of being bad for the environment. So there's two ways to talk about the environment. You can talk about things that are bad for the environment and things that are good for the environment. This sounds like a really simple phrase to refer to things that are bad for the environment, but it's literally how we talk about things. We'll say, oh, that's bad for the environment. You shouldn't drive that really old car because that's bad for the environment. So that is the phrase we use when we talk about things that are bad for the environment. Definitely barrels of waste that spill on the ground, that's definitely bad for the environment. So the first thing that is bad for the environment is pollution. Pollution is when we put things into the air or we put things into the environment that don't belong there. And it's when we put things into the environment in great quantity. So the smoke that comes out of smokestacks at a factory can be pollution. You can have pollution coming out of the exhaust of your car. Even something like throwing garbage into the ditch or onto the side of the road is considered pollution. Littering is also pollution. This is the verb. The verb is to pollute. So pollution is the noun. There is a lot of pollution in some cities. People tend to pollute, and factories pollute when they put things into the environment. And definitely anything we do that has a negative impact on the environment is considered pollution, or anything we put into the environment that has a negative effect. Emissions are definitely bad for the environment. For some reason, when we talk about cars and trucks, the exhaust that comes out is referred to emissions. Okay. Currently in North America and many other countries in the world, we're trying to reduce our emissions. They're trying to create cars that have less harmful emissions that come out of the exhaust pipe. So basically, when you have gas engine or a diesel engine, it creates pollution. Okay. So the less emissions that come out, the more we can reduce the emissions, the less it will pollute the environment. Another thing that has a harmful effect, or something that is bad for the environment, is deforestation. So when you have a forest and when you cut the trees down for lumber or for firewood, eventually it looks like this, and we call it deforestation. In Canada, we have a lot of deforestation, but I'll talk a little bit later about how we try to make sure we replace trees as we cut them down. But Canada is definitely a country that is guilty of cutting down many, many trees. There are a lot of other countries in the world that do this. Canada has a lot of trees, and so we do cut down a lot of trees in order to make lumber. That's the wood that you use to build houses. And we do cut down a lot of trees still, sometimes for firewood. Some people do use wood as firewood as well. So definitely deforestation is one of the things that is bad for the environment. We have global warming, which we could also refer to as climate change. So scientists have been making note of the fact that the average temperature around the globe, the average temperature on Earth, seems to be rising. In the last 20 or 30 years, it's gotten a lot worse. And global warming has a lot of bad effects on the planet. It changes weather patterns, it causes things like icebergs to melt. So global warming is a problem that needs to be dealt with. And climate